Welcome to the channel again, and I'm off up on a hike up beside the river here called Foyles Way. It's in Ballymacalla, County Louth, and just contemplating now. This time next week I'll be sitting either on a plane or waiting to board one ready to head off to Mallorca to view this eclipse. And some of my friends have been watching the videos and whatever else, and they've been saying, Paul, you're going into too much detail and stuff like this. Maybe some of your viewers mightn't even know what an eclipse is. So yeah, let's get to that. Right, for an eclipse, what I'm going to see is what's known as a total solar eclipse. You also have what's known as an annular eclipse and a partial eclipse. Now, the total solar eclipse is where the moon's full shadow passes over an area, which is roughly about 90 miles wide. And as I said in the other video there, the shadow travels at maybe 2,000 kilometers an hour. An eclipse basically happens when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. Now, you might say that happens a lot, but because of the orbital plane of the moon, the shadow doesn't always fall on the earth. So when it does, you get either a total eclipse, partial eclipse, or an annular eclipse. The total eclipse happens because when the moon is at a certain distance in its orbit and comes in front of the sun, by some sheer magic of nature, the moon and the sun appear to be the exact same size because of one's so much more distant but so much more bigger. And you get your shadow racing across the earth, which I intend to meet in Mallorca now in about 10 days time. In this case, what we are chasing is the very central shadow of the moon as it races across the earth at maybe like 2,100 kilometers an hour. Now that's not because the moon's going that speed, it probably is, but it's more to do with the rotation of the earth under the shadow, if that makes sense. The August 12th, 2026 eclipse is going to be one in the same series as the Great American Eclipse of 2024. It's happening roughly 2 years after, give or take. I'm not sure the exact figure, but it's in the same series of cycles. It's called the Saros cycle. It's a bit technical to be getting into, but it basically means there's 3 in each cycle and this is the last one in this one as far as I'm aware. I have a secondary motive for coming out here today and doing this video, as I have my Omni Pocket DJI. It's like a gimbal camera, and I haven't used it in quite a while. I'm just familiarising myself with the controls of it again and how to work it, because it's been sitting basically doing nothing for the last year or so since I last used it. So yeah, we'll see how these videos turn out. If you're watching this, they might have turned out okay. Right, so in terms of equipment on this trip, I'm going to be bringing obviously the DJI. I'm going to bring my main phone and an old phone and an old bridge camera that I have, tripod obviously, other stuff that his names escape me now at the minute, but basically 4 different ways of recording so I don't miss anything. In terms of solar filters, I have 2 for the camera and the 2 phones, nothing for this DJI. I can't seem to get them anywhere, so I'm going to have to just risk damaging the sensor on it. I don't really mind, it's an older one. I was maybe going to upgrade anyway. We'll see what happens. Obviously I have solar filters from my own eyes as well, and if you're going to be watching it, especially outside the zones of totality, make sure you have 2. As I've said, I intend to live stream this if that's possible. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I won't be the only one live streaming it, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Never done anything like that before. I'm sure there's no time like the present. I can't think of a nicer place to do this video. It's up along Foyles Way. If you're ever in the area in North Louth, well worth a visit. Just so peaceful and serene, sounds of running water. Meet the odd person out in it, but it's just great, especially on a day like this, and I know this bank holiday weekend, you know. It's about 23, 24 degrees in Ireland today, or where I am anyway. From looking at the weather reports in Mallorca the last couple of days and weeks, they're going through a bit of a heat wave over there. It's one thing that's kind of worrying me. I'm going to be carrying a heavy backpack with all these different cameras and stuff like that. And the one good thing is in the late evening, but if you've been to Spain, you know that just because it's in the late evening doesn't mean it's cooled down. So we'll see how that goes. This wee river creek or valley or whatever you like to call it, it's just very reminiscent of some place in America or something like that, maybe in the Rocky Mountains. But no, it's the Cooley Mountains, good old Ireland. And that is a peacock butterfly. You can tell why it's called a peacock butterfly. It has spots on its wings that look like a peacock. A bit of useless information there for you. I'd also like to tell you there that I'm by no means an expert on any of this. I just have a keen interest, and I've been always wanting to go and see one of these things since I was a child, since I saw it in some book or a TV programme or something. I've learned a lot about it, but there's always more to learn, and like I say, learning is doing. It's just coming up to 6 p.m. now where I am, and like in 10 days or so, when the eclipse is starting, it will be starting in around 6 o'clock. So this will give you a good impression of how high the sun will be in the sky. You can see it's maybe very hard to tell from there, but maybe about 20 degrees high. It'll obviously be setting, so at full 94-95% coverage, whatever we'd get here, it will be maybe half as low again in the sky as it is now. And this is why I'm stressing that you need to be out somewhere with a higher elevation than just being in town or whatever. You need a view directly to the southwest horizon. I'm looking down at Dundalk here. Wherever you are, if you can get like to a height, it makes the chances of seeing it all the better, you know. The thing about the eclipses as well, some people that maybe is not just as maybe nerdy about it or whatever would say a big deal. The moon goes over the sun, shadow, so what? In less enlightened times than what we live in now, they were seen, eclipses, especially total ones, were seen as harbingers of doom, bad omens. So people did pay attention to them if they cropped up. You had kings and people of great power would try to predict eclipses and when and where they would happen, so they could convince the natives of another country or another nation maybe that they controlled the moon and they could plunge them into darkness for 5 or 6 minutes, and in some cases it worked. But we live in a little bit more enlightened times now, and with modern sort of astronomy and computational devices, we can predict every eclipse for the next hundreds of thousands of years, from what I know, something along those lines. So yeah, it's a big deal. I'm going to go way back down the mountain here, and that now approaching 7:15, so that will give you a good impression of how high the sun should be when the eclipse is at its most coverage. Well, that's it for this one. I'm Paul, this is the Mute Pale channel, and thanks for watching, and hopefully see you soon from sunny Mallorca.